So let's talk about what are alternate jobs for a real estate agent. I was a real estate agent when I was in law school. It helped me support myself. I went to law school in the evenings, so I supported myself during the day as a real estate agent. It was wonderful. I really loved it, but I don't know that I would be doing that business today. I think there's some real rough spots there. Not only do you have constrained inventory, but most importantly, you have some lawsuits that have come up where they're saying, maybe you can't really split commissions anymore, where, as a buyer's agent, maybe you're not going to get paid by the seller's agent and you got to get paid by your client, which is problematic because they're not paying you 3% of the sale price for helping them find a house, especially when they just go look online on realtor.com. So anyway, I think a lot of real estate agents are looking for alternatives. So I want to give you a couple of alternatives. One of them I think you'll probably never have heard of, and it's just the most amazing one. It's the business that I do today. So I'll save that one for last, but I want to talk first about two other alternatives for real estate agents that I think are pretty interesting. You think about, as an agent, things that are related to real estate. Those come naturally to mind. And one of them is property management. Now, property management, I think if you're just talking about like run-of-the-mill apartments, is pretty dull and thankless work. I think that's pretty miserable work, frankly. You're dealing with just people that are upset because their garbage disposal broke, or they can't get their rent together and they're mad because they had to pay a late fee, whatever. Or owners that are mad because they have to pay for a repair and they're not making any money. I think that's just a headache-prone business, so I would do that with a twist, a really important twist. I think that managing short-term rentals in the right market is absolutely amazing. And here's what I'm referring to. If you're in a market where there are a lot of people visiting from out of town, like for example, in a resort type community, or a place where it's by a beach where a lot of people come in for vacations, like my place, I live in a gated community with a beach, and we have visitors all the time. And I have a real estate agent friend there who manages 30 short-term rentals, and people pay really good money. They're typically paying $25,000 to $30,000 a week to rent a house, and she's collecting a fee of almost 30% on those rentals. So when someone rents, she's collecting like $8,000 or more in fees, which is great for her. It's amazing. She's got 30 of these properties, so she's really racking in the money. And she's doing really well with it. I think also it works in a place where you're in a major city where a lot of people visit. And in major cities, I know when I travel with my family, I'd much prefer to be in a house where I have a yard for the kids, maybe a playground down the street, where there's a washer and dryer, where there's a full kitchen. Like, that's much preferable for visiting as a family. And major cities always have people coming in and out. So it can be anywhere. It can be even the suburbs to a major city. Like, I was in Denver last month, and in there we rented a house. And we were in Denver, but it was sort of the more suburban part. It was perfect. And I'm sure that house stays rented all the time because there's a nice place, a little yard, and people really prefer, I much prefer that to renting a couple of hotel rooms. And short-term rentals can be really profitable. And one of the things that you can do is you don't have to buy the properties. Matter of fact, I'd rather that you didn't buy them. Because when you buy them, it takes a lot of capital to do it, and you typically have big debt payments. If they change the rules on you, like they say, oh, no more short-term rentals, like they did in New York City recently, if you're stuck holding a bunch of properties, that's really a problem. So it's much preferable to keep your business a little lighter, where you manage properties for other people. Now, you might want to ask, how does my real estate agent friend get like 30% of the rents on a place that's renting for so much? It's really easy, because the people that own the houses don't necessarily want to be the person doing the landlording work. Because especially with short-term rentals, it's much more intense than a regular rental. Like, just for example, people are checking out at 10 in the morning and checking in at 4 in the afternoon. That place has to be cleaned and ready to go for the 4 o'clock tenant. And if someone is just running one house, they don't necessarily have the cleaning crews or the leverage to do it. What my friend does that manages all the properties, she has full-time cleaning people. So she can just allocate them to that house and really jump on them to get it done. Same thing with like repairs and maintenance. If someone's there on vacation, like if the garbage disposal backs up or the toilet backs up, they want it fixed like right then and there. So you really need to be in the business. So lots of people that own places don't want to be landlords, and they do want the money. And even net of my friend's fees, the landlord still makes more money, but the owner of the property still makes more money. So everybody wins with it. The other thing you bring as a real estate agent to this particular venture is skills and credibility. So credibility, when you're talking about managing properties for someone else, you're a real estate agent. That makes sense to them. That gives you the credibility. The second thing is you know how to make a property appealing. You've shown enough houses, you've been to open houses, you've seen staged places. You know what appeals to people, and you know how to get good pictures taken. Because you probably have people in your network right now that are good photographers, that know how to light a place right, that have the right equipment, that take beautiful pictures. You also hopefully know something about marketing, so you can write up a nice description of the property and make it look appealing on VRBO or Airbnb, whatever platforms you're putting it on, and you know how to get the pricing information and evaluate that. So you can do a lot of good work and use your skills as an agent to make it work. The other thing that happens when you get a bunch of properties under management, you can get a reputation and you can be a person that gets lots of good reviews as a property manager on these short-term rental platforms, and then it's easier to keep places rented. So the people who own the place don't necessarily want to be in that business of dealing with tenants moving in and out or advertising, getting pictures taken. So they're making more money anyway by having short-term rentals. So it's a win for everybody. I think it's really good. It's a natural fit for agents, and I think it's definitely something to look at. Another business that I'm doing right now that I think you should really look at is the Overages business. Overages is a business related to real estate agency, but certainly not either of those things. What it is specifically is when someone loses their house to a tax foreclosure or mortgage foreclosure, when the property sells for more than the debt that's foreclosing, then that extra money is available for the former owner. So let me peel that apart a little bit because I know that could be confusing. So let's say that you have a house that's like average house in America, $400,000 house. They don't pay their taxes for 3 or 4 years. The taxing authority is going to sell that property at auction, no question about it. And when they sell the property, $400,000 house probably going to go for plus or minus a few dollars, about $300,000 at the auction. So, and the person probably would owe on 3 or 4 years worth of taxes, probably $50,000, even inclusive of taxes and penalties. So the house sells for $300,000. They owed $50,000. So that means the taxing authority takes $50,000 off the top and pays all the taxes. And then the rest of the money, the remaining $250,000, is just sitting there waiting for the former owner to claim it. And the challenge is that most former owners have no idea there even could be any money to claim. So they don't claim it because they don't know to apply. And unless you apply, you don't get a check. And the government doesn't have the incentive to go find you. And you know why? Here's a dirty secret. If the people don't apply for the money, then the government gets to keep it. So they have like zero incentive to actually, track anybody down or give money. So I've made a business out of getting lists of people owed money, getting their contact information, just looking it up on the internet, and then reaching out to them and telling them, hey, we found some money that you're eligible to claim. Our business is helping people claim that money for a percentage if and when we're successful. So if you'd like to hire us, complete contingent fee, no risk to you, then we're happy to do the work. So it's obviously a little longer conversation than that, but that's the gist of it. So I love the business because I'm helping people who've really been kicked to the streets and really had a hard time. I personally like doing that. I make great money and I'm doing really good for people. Challenge of the business is really 2 things. The business challenge is just getting people to believe you. There are plenty of people that will never believe you. They won't believe me. They just don't get their money. And unfortunately for them, they lose their money. But there are also plenty of people that do believe you and will believe you and do hire you. And you make great money with them because you're getting a percentage of what you recover. Usually this money's at minimum in the tens of thousands and can even be up as far as hundreds of thousands of dollars because houses have gone up so much in value. But either way, you're really helping people. I mean, the woman that you see up there, Carrie Johnson, she was literally in a homeless shelter when we got her $32,000, and now she's back in life again. She rented a townhouse that she lives in. She managed, because she got some money, she got some help, and she managed to get her pension at work going, some disability payments going, Social Security going, so she's fine now. She's literally back in life. And I say this with total conviction. We saved her life by getting her that money. It got her back in it. So if you want to save the life of people like that, this can be your route to do that. So I really enjoy that part of the business. And Carrie will forever be in my memory as someone that I meaningfully helped. And frankly, I'm in her memory too as someone that called up with this cockamamie story about having all this money she could get, which as she told me, she said, I didn't believe you, but you seem like a nice guy. So I thought, why not? I'll let you give it a try, but I'll never get any money because I have such bad luck. I'll never get it. But we did. She got the money and she got a whole new fresh start in life. So if that appeals to you, it's a really great business for you. Like I said, it's not real estate agent work, but It's helping people, it's real estate related, and it mostly takes advantage of your sales skills and your follow-up skills, because you have to fill in the government paperwork. It's not hard, it's simple paperwork, but you got to fill it in and follow up. And real estate agents are good at filling in papers and following up, otherwise you couldn't do your job. So it's a pretty good business that way. So I really like the business, I think it's great. If you want to find out more about it, I recorded a short intro to the Overages Business video. You can see a link up there if your browser supports it. If it doesn't, look down below, there's a link. And you can go and learn about the Overages business. I offer education and support in that business, so you can move forward with us, or at least just learn about it. It's only a 7-minute video, so you can go check it out. So I think those are two good alternatives. A third alternative I'll just tell you about real briefly is going into the actual property investment business. So that's where you'll take properties and either fix them and flip them or hold them as rentals. That can be very good in the right market. I think generally speaking, the best market for that is one that's a rising market, where you have population coming into your city. That's going to cause rents to rise over the long term. It's going to cause house values to rise over the long term. And those are the places to do it. I don't think in a shrinking place, I wouldn't want to be owning the real estate. If you have places that are declining in value, I would not be doing that. But if you're in a place that's growing, it can be a great way to make a living. So check out, see what the population inflows and outflows are. Also, just give you a story. There was a realtor named Alan Dom who was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And Alan, for many, many years, was the Condo King. And this is back when condos were really unpopular in Philadelphia and nobody wanted anything to do with them. Agents didn't even want to list them. So Alan made himself the Condo King. And God bless him, man. He was the Condo King. He would, if you wanted to buy or sell a condo in Center City, Philadelphia, Alan was the guy. He had like virtually all the listings and got that business that nobody else wanted. What he did though is he built up this reputation as being the Condo King, and he started investing in condominium conversions, meaning taking apartment buildings and converting them to condos. He started investing in individual condos as rentals. And he knew that market better than anyone. So when Alan wanted to raise money to like buy a building or wanted to raise money to buy a rental, really easy for him because he was so credible. He knew the market, he knew the pricing, he knew everything, had an organization. So he built a huge empire in Philadelphia off of condos. It's amazing. And I think you can kind of follow that model where, because you're in the business, and when you say, when I'm finished renovating this place, it's going to be worth, $400,000 because that's what they're worth. You have credibility in saying that. So you leverage your credibility as a real estate agent. When you say, what should I do? How should I finish those kitchen cabinets? What kind of carpeting should I put in or flooring? As a real estate agent, you're in touch with the market. You know what you should do. You don't know what you would have liked to have done 15 years ago. Last time, a non-real estate agent, homeowner, maybe renovated a house. You know what's popular today, and you have that credibility. So you can really make a good run at as managing properties, making them appealing, as fix and flipping. So I think that real estate investing can be very good. And who knows, maybe you build an empire like Alan Dom did. I think you have the credibility and people will believe you. And I think it's a good business to get into. So those are 3 good things to do as a real estate agent. All of them are really good. And I would say start pursuing, whichever ones appeal to you, start looking into them. If it's the Overages business, I'm happy to teach it to you. If it's one of the other ones, there are plenty of ways to learn about that. Just start doing some internet searches and you'll find them. But whatever you decide to do, I hope that this video has been helpful to you. If it has, please like it, because then I'll know that this is the kind of content I should be putting out. I'm happy to do that. And if you want to know more about real estate investing and entrepreneurship, and overages for that matter, definitely subscribe, because those are the topics I'm talking about. Been in the business a long time, bought my first investment property in 1989. And got into the Overages business in 2014, so I've been out a long time. Became a real estate attorney in 1995, so I know this field inside and out. I would love to help you move forward to the next step in your life, whatever it is, because as a real estate agent, you have lots of great skills that can take you really far in life. I started as a real estate agent when I was in law school. I loved it. I think it set the foundation for everything it did after. So I wish all the best for you. Thanks for being here. This is Attorney Bob Diamond, over and out for now.